My name is Christiana, and I'm working with the Critical Design Thinking class on the SCMA project partnership. I help the team with visual support and research about children and families in museums.
And I'm Ilza, and I help the team with design, illustration, and some research.
We're working with the SCMA to advance the goal of helping families feel welcome when visiting the museum. For us, this meant investigating how we can use the space to support families as they explore the galleries.
This Museum of Art asked us to make an intervention that would make the museum more inclusive and friendly for families, especially families with kids. Why just tell them when we could show them? Our friends Sophie and Amelia are going to take us on a little tour of the museum to give us a more in-depth look.
Hi, welcome to the Smith College Museum of Art. I'm Sophie and this is Amelia. We're the other two members of the IDP 316 team for the SCMA project.
The museum asked us to help make the galleries more family friendly. Let's explore the museum and show you our plans for the space.
We have a lot in store for you today, so let's get walking.
I noticed there's no artwork in here.
Good observation, Amelia. This is the lobby to the museum, and because people are always coming in and out of the museum, the doors are always opening and closing, which means that there's an irregular air temperature and air climate within the lobby. So therefore, if we were to put any artwork in here, like a painting, it might get destroyed by the irregular climate.
Well, maybe we could put something else here.
You're right, Amelia, maybe we could. The museum's been talking to us about maybe putting something up on this wall, something to welcome the visitors in, because some visitors have noticed that you don't really see art until you get a little ways into the museum. So maybe
We put up a vinyl decal on this wall. It can mark the beginning of the visitor's journey through the museum.
Plus, it won't get spoiled by the airflow. Our proposal for the museum is to make a clearly defined space that families can trace through the museum. Starting from the moment you walk into the lobby all the way up to the third floor galleries, families can use these visual guides to define their experiences and unite all areas of the museum into one space.
Independent exploration means that families can feel confident and comfortable inside the museum. Some families have felt lost inside the museum, and that can make a person feel like they don't belong in a space. We want to get rid of that feeling.
This is the museum's talkback space. In normal times, there's a piece of art and a question for visitors to respond to. Visitors love this space because they get to respond to the art instead of just look at it.
we want to create more spaces like the talkback space in the museum so more people have chances to interact with more different types of art.
The lower levels of the gallery are more temporary exhibits that are more frequently changing than versus the upper level galleries. But something we're talking about is how do we make consistency throughout the entire museum, and how do we bridge the gap between the more temporary lower exhibits and the upper level more permanent exhibits. And we're going to look at challenges and see how we can find a way to make all of the spaces in the gallery connect into one consistent way.
The bathroom, I know we said we were going to do the entire museum, but I don't think we need to do the bathrooms.
Well, actually, the bathrooms at this museum aren't like most bathrooms. There's art inside the bathrooms.
Check out these artist-designed bathrooms. Visitors are openly encouraged to check out both bathrooms and see the art installed on these spaces. You see it on the walls, the utilities, everywhere.
The artist-designed bathrooms are beautiful.
And they're a big hit with the small children who come to visit the museum.
Bathrooms are a perfect example of what we're trying to do with the rest of the museum, because it's a place where the art and the environment combine to make a really welcoming place. That painting's in the museum.
We shouldn't think of the museum as just a shell that holds art. The museum wants us to explore this in a way that makes it more family-friendly and inclusive. The architecture is a part of the experience.
The reason it's so important to connect the art in the galleries to the architecture in the museum is it makes for a more cohesive and comforting experience. The visitor will feel truly at home in the setting, knowing that everything connects.
Do we have anything planned for this space, Christina?
Space really works well as it is. And because these exhibits change so frequently, we've decided to focus on the upper floor gallery spaces for our designs. That way, the prototypes we design could be used by the museum for a long time.
But in order to connect the art to the architecture, we're going to need some art. Let's take a look at some of the paintings in the museum and how we can use them for our work.
Art is popular with small children who visit K-12 grades. It is. A lot of activities in the museum are based around this piece. I know a lot of SMEs on their tours center this piece in their work. And this is one of the pieces we inspired our stair patterns after because it's one of the most well-liked pieces in the museum.
We want to transform this space into a pathway through the museum, guiding families on their visits and making them feel like the museum is a cohesive and welcoming space. We have curated patterns for vinyl decals that can be applied to the stairs.
We took a few pieces of art that children in K-12 groups love and developed patterns for the stairs. Each piece of art is broken down into its color palette, which could be used for making additional alterations to the space. And then each has a pattern for the stairs.
That's so cool. It's like a built-in scavenger hunt.
Something simple and relatable can often be the thing that makes people feel the most comfortable in a museum.
Security and comfort are two of the main priorities of our group in designing spaces. And something that we learned through our research is that a lot of kids sometimes feel uneasy or unsafe on those staircases because of the large view into the atrium. We spoke to occupational therapist Melissa Alves, and she said that if a child doesn't feel safe in its own personal environment, they're never going to connect to the space. So if we don't make a system that can make a child feel safe in the museum, they're never going to have the opportunity to connect.
This is one of the glass overlook spaces kids are often scared of when they come to the museum. Because there's no partition at the bottom and the metal part at the top is above their heads, all they see is glass and they feel like the floor has ended and there's nothing to secure them. We want to put a laminated sheet across this that's clear and colored so that they can look down and see the art below, but they'll feel more safe and like there's more of a division between where they might fall and where they're standing.
Plus, that's a new way to look at the artwork. You can look at things through different colored lenses, like what does this painting look like with a blue wash over it, or a pink wash, or a purple wash? And that's a great new way to engage with the artwork. By combining the two prototypes of the stairs and the stained glass, we create an environment where the child can both be grounded and focused. If they are feeling overwhelmed by the heights on the stairs, they can simply look at the art on the stairs to keep themselves focused on where they are and where their feet are, and they can also look out at the stained glass windows and see art through a new perspective while not feeling like they're about to fall away at a moment's notice. It's a much more comfortable way to engage with the art. Here we have some more vinyl prototypes. Similar to the ones we saw in the lobby, we want to continue that through the entire museum because, as we said, this is about creating that yellow brick road, a winding map through the entire museum so the visitor feels like everything is connected. Moving on to the third floor gallery, we're seeing a lot of beautiful art, and something we talked about in one of our early prototypes is attaching a banner of art that matches the artworks along the bottom of the floor. But something we noticed when we checked out the space is that the bottom of the floor is rather inconsistent with sizings because of the paintings. However, we see a lot of free real estate up at the top of the gallery where we have all these empty horizontal beams. We want to utilize this. And we noticed these horizontal beams at the top of the space mimic the ones in the bathrooms on the lower level. So we thought we could mimic the layout of the bathrooms and once again bring everything together and have almost a procession of the artwork above your own head as you walk around the gallery spaces. And the reason we think this would make the museum more family friendly is because, as we said, this would encourage independent exploration and seeing art from many different perspectives and seeing it in many different formats within the same gallery space can make viewers feel more engaged and more comfortable in the space as they see everything tied back together the same way they do in the bathrooms. And with the added installations of the lobby space, the stairs, and the windows, this would make the entire gallery fit together.
We talked to lots of people, from museum staff to community members, and tried to get as many perspectives as possible.
I'm David Andrews. I'm the front desk person here at Smith College Museum of Art. I'm basically the face of the museum. I welcome people into the museum and try to be as nice as possible.
Hi, my name is Justin Thomas. I am the buyer and manager of the museum store, the physical store and the online store here at SCMA. They are a very familiar and kind of almost, as a communal entry point to have conversations. Whether conversations are just about the community or the museum, the institution itself, or oftentimes exhibitions and special programs that are happening within the walls of the museum space. So it's kind of, people kind of come in and they get prepped and go and have this wonderful, hopefully, expansive experience, and then exit and get to kind of have, not closure, but have another level of that same experience.
My name is April Gallant. I am the Associate Director of Cultural Affairs and Senior Curator of Principles and Photographs, which means I'm the head of the curatorial department and I'm also the director of the museum's 24,000 collection of I organize exhibitions and fire lecture in the museum, and today I have the great fortune of being able to stand in the galleries and allowing people access to the collection. And it's been really amazing to get to do that, both because it has been so long since I've been in the museum. When I started covering the galleries, it was just really wonderful to be in the space again, and also really nice to actually see people interacting with the art again. I'm Lily Foster. I work at the museum. I've been covering the galleries on Fridays during the pandemic.
I am Gina Hall. I'm the educator for school and family programs.
We know that the museum has been taking great steps forward in the rebranding of security, who once made visitors feel too closely monitored in the galleries, into gallery assistants.
The museum has also begun to offer sensory activity bags to family groups in the museum, something we hope they will continue to develop and offer. We decided to focus on the space of the museum rather than activities or guards.
What a great day at the museum today.
Hopefully with these modifications to the space, both children and adults can enjoy the wonderful art collection here at this college museum.
Or how might we question evolved, basically from us trying to understand what family meant, the word itself, and who exactly fits under that definition that we tried to generate throughout this process. And in the beginning, I think that we struggled a lot with understanding what is a family, how many people does that entail, do we have to focus on people of certain backgrounds or cultures or ethnicities? So in the end, we decided to focus on families that had children who are aged under 10.
The question that is left unanswered is, how will people interact with these things that we have done?
We want to say thank you to Gina Hall for helping us out in this entire process. Gina, you've been wonderful to us and so generous. And thank you for everything you do. How do you do that? Yeah.
Doing it wrong.
Thank you so much. Thank you for watching. Thank you. Thank you.